definition of supernatural.
Yeah.
Seems weird that you're
Yeah,
just.
they doesn't obey the laws of nature. I think that is magic.
Okay, so it's just supernatural. Well, what the fuck? So what is supernatural then?
That doesn't obey the laws of nature.
Yeah, that doesn't answer what I'm trying to get at, right? I'm
So,
saying like,
I'll just
are
keep
there?
going to- I don't really know what you-
This is the detraction, though, because my
Orsen-
argument never was God exists.
Orson, what's magic?
I don't know.
Okay, so what you're saying is what you're saying is random thing I don't know demonstrates that God exists. That's what you're fundamentally saying.
Demonstrates that God justifies himself.
That is retarded.
No. Well, I see that when we work back to if I was to say magic means that God can justify himself, I see that's a flaw. I see that's not. I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that.
Orson, why are you trying so hard on this point?
Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing. This is not the hill to die on, Orson.
I think he found something that he thinks everybody's wrong on that he knows that he's correct on.
You know you're wrong, right?
Michael, can you just shut up and let him die on the hill, please? Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
I mean, this has lasted for a while now.
Yeah, this is a hill I'm trying to die on if I'm going to die on anything.
Why?
I'm trying to show why, but it's quite a complex discussion so far, at least.
No. I don't care about the conversation. I'm asking you why this thing? Why this moment?
I don't think that
Just the
It
first
should-
3 words is fine there.
CPU is
Right.
maxed out.
I don't think.
I got an answer, bud. Just stop it.
I don't conclude that it should be impossible for something to self-justify. You guys do.
Right, you don't conclude that bachelors are unmarried.
Yeah, this whole time.
Well, you know why I don't conclude that.
Orson, check it out. This whole time, you've been using like psychology to encroach on epistemology. It just doesn't work that way. That's not how beliefs work, man.
Preach.
I don't know what you mean by that.
All right, so I'm not going to recap the whole last 2.5 hours.
You don't have to.
Every time that I've tuned in, you've been appealing to some sort of like compelling, like the arguments, whether or not the argument compels the rational agent to believe or not. Right? That seems just irrational to me. Right? Whether or not something.
No, I don't.
Positive propositional attitudes occur to rational agents, right? They're not something that they impose on themselves. It's something that happens to them. It's not an activity that they participate in. And this idea that there's some sort of thing that can self-justify, right? I don't even know what you mean by that, right? Self-justify. What does that even mean? Without being circular, without being fallacious.
See, I think this depends. So I defined the informal fallacy as something with a substantive error, and if it was, so I'm appealing to magic when I say that it may be the case that God could defend himself in the same way that we view justification, the definition Chum gave us.
Chum, did you use arguments and evidence for probability? Is that what you used?
No, I don't. Sorry, I didn't hear the last thing that was said. Could you say it again?
This is hard to keep track on. What did Michael say before I said that?
Sorry. And also, I'm starting to like Orson, so don't just be nice, guys. Good God. Look, Orson, so the idea is that I accused you
This
of
fucking
using
Orson fan
psychology
club
to
coming
encroach
up.
on epistemology, right? So you said that for something to be self-evident, right, it would have to have some sort of justification, but you disagreed with Chum's definition of justification. What was Chum's definition of justification?
That something can defend itself.
No,
What?
I didn't. That wasn't.
No.
That's what you're saying.
Chum definitely did not say that. I know Chum did that.
Would you like
Hold
to
on, let me
just
find the
clarify? Yeah.
let me find the definition again.
Something
Then-
that can defend itself.
Chum,
No,
did
yeah.
you
Okay.
use-
Yeah.
Chum,
As in, like,
let me ask you that question. Did you use arguments and evidence as or probability justifiers?
I just gave the definition of justification that I found here. A reason, fact, circumstance, or explanation that justifies or defends.
well, then Jesus could be a fact that would defend itself.
No. Jesus isn't a fact.
No. Defend.
Jesus is a fact, right? But Jesus is not a fact in virtue of just being Jesus, right? It's the states of affairs of Jesus existing that would be truth making to the proposition on offer, right? But if you're talking about a proposition being self-evident, you can't just summon one of the properties of the proposition as circular.
I don't think Orson disagrees that it's circular.
No, he just thinks circularity is fine.
Why?
No, I don't think it's
Why?
fine.
He thinks it's not fallacious.
I don't think
Why
there
is
is
it
a
not fallacious?
because I thought there would be a substantive error.
Well,
You
where's
don't-
the substance for there to be a substantive error? There's
Well,
no
if Jesus is true, that would be the substance.
Look, you know what a tautology is, right, Orson? Hold on. You know what a tautology is, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, what's wrong with tautologies? It's not that tautologies are false or there's an error, right? It's just that they don't provide any information.
any substance.
Right. I would rather not go back down the worthlessness path.
If
No,
there's-
I'm not going down worthlessness. I'm saying they don't provide information, right?
I
That's
agree.
the same fucking problem.
Well,
It
what's the,
doesn't
what's the
provide
problem?
Information. That it. What do you mean? What's the
that
problem?
there's
I just
no
told
substance. The
There's
substantive
no
error
substance.
is that there's no substance.
But if
I don't-
Jesus
I don't-
was,
I don't
if
know.
it was the case that Jesus was true, that would be the substance.
I don't
you.
think.
Oh
all
my
taut-
god.
I don't think all tautologies don't have any substance. I mean, what if I say like that's that? That's a tautology, but that does provide information, right?
No,
I mean, there's also called in language accent. There's also
Dio.
other things in language as well.
What we're talking about is the use of a premise, right? That would be a tautology, right? So if
That's
you
that
just
didn't
say
provide any
it
information.
doesn't provide any
It does
information.
provide
No,
information.
that would provide information if you combined it with something else, like you pointed to something, right? You might provide information due to that, maybe, but you wouldn't say that the simple statement "that's that" would provide.
Oh no, I'm not
any
even talking
information.
about point. No, I'm not actually talking about pointing at an object and saying that is that. I'm simply saying, like in conversation, when you feel like you've exhausted yourself, and
Wrapping
you're
it up.
annoyed.
Yeah. Well, we understand colloquially that means like I'm wrapping the conversation up. So
Yeah.
it's because it's like a sign that points to, because of our experience that we understand that it points to
What has been
No,
said
it
is
refers
the
to
entirety
something.
of the
We
conversation.
understand that it refers to something.
and the alternate meaning is what gets it its substance because we understand the
But
alternate
isn't that
meaning.
couldn't that also be true for the tautologies that I don't know about the one I'm just joining in, but couldn't that also
Huh.
be about things that you guys are traditionally when you guys are traditionally talking about tautology, that could be in it as well?
Oh, yeah, but that would have to have been established before that
Well,
statement.
right, but white is white is not. It does not provide information.
Right, A is not informative.
But well, all math is tautology.
Well, that's not the point that we're making. It's irrelevant.
I don't mean to be rude to Dionysus because you might be making a point here, but I want to get back to Orson.
Please.
If we want to get back to me, I want to bring one point up. Then, is I think when someone says, so if I say God exists, therefore God exists, my interlocutor would say that's begging the question. I would say why, and they say, well, it's an informal fallacy. I say, why is it an informal fallacy? Usually, I get back, it's begging the question.
No.
No.
No. Look, when you say what's wrong, right, with committing that fallacy, a tautology.
I don't even think it's a fallacy. Could you show me it's a fallacy?
What is wrong? Look, what is like a fallacy is just a category of arguments, right? So like you're just freaking out about that, right?
Why
What's
is circular
wrong?
argument in that category?
Look, the problematic part of the argument is that it doesn't provide any substance. It doesn't provide new information, and it's not a justification for anything, right? Because if you're using itself, A justifies A, right? It's not how justifications work. Justifications need to be based on something else, right?
To put it in another way, Orson, what's happening here is you're using the very thing in question to justify it. So what is up for deliberation here? What we're deliberating about is a thing.
Why?
To justify it, you can't use that thing.
That's what leads us to why can't something self-justify? And that's what led us to the definition of justify. And then what I said, why can't Jesus defend himself in that light which was described?
Because nobody accepts that as justification. That's not how beliefs work. Again, you're encroaching on psychology here.
You yourself said it wasn't convincing. You're just like, but why shouldn't Jesus be able to defend himself and convince us? Because you don't find it convincing yourself.
Unicorns. No, I have $1 million in my bank account. Well, what justifies that? My $1 million in my bank account, like. So you're not giving somebody a reason to think that what you're saying is true.
But I think
I mean,
Jesus
it could
may
be true
have
that it could be true that unicorns exist. I mean, it could be true that I have $1 million in my bank account. But I mean, you might as well just say I have $1 million in my bank account, or unicorns exist.
I think that's disanalogous because I think, I mean, for lack of better words, I think Jesus can do magic, and your $1 million cannot.
But you don't even know what magic is because you
What
never
about
been able to
lack of-
define it.
Unicorns
Lack
could
of
do
better
magic.
words. So,
See, no. But what you're saying is
Right, so
Jesus
we
can
could do
do this.
unicorns that can
Jesus
do
can
magic.
do this. Look, you're saying Jesus can violate the quote unquote rule, right? Because of a characteristic that he has that I don't know what it
It's
is.
appeal to mystery. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Like
it's
appeal
appeal
to a
to
bigger
ignorance.
mystery.
It's appeal to ignorance, which is another
That's
fallacy.
right.
Right. So that's worthless unless you can tell us what magic is.
I've never said it's not worthless.
Well, but-
Come on, we all
Would you
agree
agree
it's
that
worthless.
this
Why?
conversation-
Oh my god, I'm
Worthless.
gonna, dude, I would fucking punch your fucking nose in for being so dishonest to us in this conversation when you act like that. If we were in person, I'd punch you straight in the fucking face for that comment.
Orson, I'd squeeze you.
I would
Thank you,
massage
Silent.
your nose to make you feel better after he punched you.
Thank you.
I'd put you between two big sheets of wood and stand on the top one.
In summary, that was dishonest as fuck.
How do you
And
define?
everybody in the room fucking knows it.
How do you define dishonest?
When you when you are fully aware, right, that when you just say dumb shit that you know is dumb just to try to win an argument.
I'm not
When you
here.
know that something is false and you know that it's just not meaningful to the conversation, but you fucking say it anyway.
All right, lads.
I don't think appealing to magic is so. So
No,
appealing to
appealing
ignorance-
to magic is not your dishonesty. Your dishonesty is what you just fucking said.
What was that?
When you just go, but that's not at all what I'm talking about. I never said it wasn't worthless, right? I never said it wasn't worthless, but I think that you can use this argument in a meaningful way. And Silent has already defined worthless to mean that if something is worthless, you can't use the argument in a meaningful way.
Right. Okay. So, I see the issue with that is like when we say it's worthless, it's from the paradigm that God may exist. But if we were in the paradigm of God does exist, then it would not be worthless.
No, I'm an agnostic. I'm for the paradigm. I don't know whether or not God exists.
Yeah, I said that's the paradigm where it's worthless.
No. It's worthless from every paradigm.
It's not worthless from the paradigm where God exists.
It's not justification. If you don't know what it is, and you just say, look, God exists because of a thing I don't know, he has a characteristic that I don't even know, you're just appealing to straight ignorance, right? That doesn't strengthen the argument, that's just fallacious, that's empty bullshit, nothing.
You lose, Orson.
You fucking lose!
I don't know if you know this, but God has magical powers that he can use.
Thanks to Kiri.
Welcome to Prayer Hour with Big Jump Time.
Jesus fucking Christ. I added 10 years to my life based on I swear to
Let's have a prayer.
God. Turn on
I
the
don't think
music.
I don't think you substantiated dishonesty though.
I posted a picture of God.
What do you mean substantiated it? You mean are you saying I didn't define it? Because I defined it.
No, I know you defined what dishonesty is.
Is that
I
a
just don't
magic
think you.
word, Chum?
I don't think
It
you
is,
showed that
yeah.
I'm being dishonest.
You are being dishonest.
That's
Why?
one of the new
Because
ones, right?
because I have already defined in the conversation what worthless is. You know what my definition of worthless is, and you know, right,
It's
that it
from the set,
applies.
if
And
you
then
can
you
find.
say, I was never
Yeah, that's a
arguing
new
that.
set.
No, it's not.
You're fucking dishonest.
This set is from like probably like 2 or 3 years ago minimum. I remember I was playing Magic at work with my coworkers and shit, and like I found that this was like in like the set that was about to get rotated out of standard. But the artwork.
Everything after Innistrad is new. That's my position.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know when Innistrad is, but I don't play Magic, so I'm not really gonna argue.
Oh. 2011.
Oh, okay, it's new. The artwork for the gods, for the god cards look fucking sick, man.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's pretty good.
amazing.
Anything to get off.
God is
Conversation.
real,
Yeah.
and he tried to eat my ass.
But we all agreed that the conversation was worthless, so I thought me and Chump could just hijack it since
No,
it had
I'm
no
down.
value.
I'm down, dude.
Look at this guy. He has a whip. This is the black god.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Area bus or something.
That's racist, sir.
Well, he's
What are these from?
he's the black god, so he can have the whip. So he's cool like that. This is Magic
Yeah,
the Gathering.
if the white god had the whip, that would be super racist.
Exactly.